Hello, everyone. My name is Harold Campos. I'm my principal product manager on Azure Integration Services at Microsoft Corporation. And today I will be speaking about the 3270 design tool, how to record mainframe screens for Azure Logic Apps. First of all, let's start defining what is 3270. In the SNA days, the display management protocol used to facilitate the communication between end users and a mainframe was called the 3270 data stream. At the end of a user's location in an SNA network was a device referred to as 3270 terminal. Because so many SNA and 3270 applications existed in the market, they looked at integrating the SNA into the IP backbone, and that's how the SNA 3270 applications to TCP/IP were starting to be called TN3270, short for Telnet 3270. If someone says 3270s, then I'm sure that green screens come into your mind. And yes, mainframes are full of green screens. Now, before getting into the reasons why we created this 3270 design tool, we gotta say that all of these mainframes they preserve a number of screen-based applications that in many cases encapsulate business logic and presentation together. So this is not isolated, it's not a split. So then that means that if you want to execute you want to execute a specific task, then you have to follow through all of these screens. And this tool was meant to record those screens, to leverage them, so then you can use that piece of logic in a robotic process automation scenario, or you can just automate the execution of these screens using our Logic Apps connector for 3270. This tool will provide a metadata that it's going to be available for the connector to be used in Logic Apps, and it includes three stages. One, capturing the screens. Two, creating a navigation plan. And three, creating methods for this purpose. The tool is available in this location, okay, and you can use it anytime. And let's talk about the first stage, which is capturing the screens. In this mode, you will record the screen. So this is a part where you connect to the host if you have access to a live host, and then you just start recording the screens, and I'll show you how to do that, right? So you can change the names of the screens, and then you have to identify each one of the screens by selecting specific sections of the screens, right? Which is interesting because you have to be able to identify those screens not only by name but also by content. The second stage is to create navigation plans, and in this mode, you define the flow or steps for navigating through your mainframe's applications screens, right? So there are a few plan types available: process, connect, and disconnect. You will have to see these plan types as groupings of screens, and and these groupings of screens they can be reused, so then you don't have to be dealing, drag and dropping the same screen multiple times. Okay. The outcome of this process has the RAP extension or RAP extension, right? So it's a recording, and we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. And the third stage is defining the method. So once you have captured the screens, you have created a sequence for them with the navigation plan. So then you define the method that's going to allow you to it's going to be linked to the navigation plan, and it will allow you to capture the outcome, the input and output of the whole work that you've done so far. Okay. The outcome of this process is going to be a metadata file that you will generate using the tool, or HIDX file that has a method definition for creating and running the action for the IBM 3270 connector for Azure Logic Apps. You will be able to test the method. In the menu, we have an option to test the method. There are two ways to do so, right? So you will enter the parameters, but you can either see the complete view of all of the screens and commands that you run, or you can just see a summary view of the whole test process. Then one important point is that the 3DT tool or 3270 design tool includes an SDK. This SDK includes a number of wrap files for your use, RAP files, for they are samples that you can review. And if you don't have live access to a mainframe, you can use this mainframe simulator called SimHost that we've been shipping for many years, and that includes different ways and mechanisms to interact with the mainframe using all of our programming models available for our integration technologies. Now let's take a quick look to this demo. Okay, so I have the 3270 design tool here available. What I'm going to do is just a quick summary of this. So you can create a new recording, you can open a recording, you can even import BMS maps. You can ask your mainframe specialist what these are, but basically they are maps that represent presentation tier of specific applications in the mainframe. You have an option to specify the host settings. In this case, my host is called sys1, and then you have options to start, to stop recording, connect, disconnect, and then many others that are related to not only captioning but also creating a navigation plan and then a method. So I'll try to squeeze the whole demo here, but if not, I have a complete demo that I'll show you. But let's connect first. Let's connect. I'll just connect it to the host, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit start, and then I'll start running my commands. So I'll get to this region, the CICS region, and then I'll go to keypad, clear, I'll run the transaction, WBGB, and then I'll enter the account number for this person, key makers, and then I'll get the value, the account balance. So then I can stop recording, I can disconnect, and then what's going to happen is that in the screens available, I will have an empty screen that is like a commodity screen that I can use to connect different screens. And then let's take a quick look. So I can rename the screen. This one I'll call it main. This one I'll call CICS. I don't need to call this one, but I need to call this one wood groove, and then wood groove, instead of wood groove one, it's gonna be wood groove okay, right? So then what happens next is that I have to find a way to recognize these screens. So if you see here these options called recognition, so I have the option to select a specific section in the screen, and that will help me recognize it in the navigation plan once I create it, right? So then I go here, recognition as well, and then I mark here this, for instance, and then I hit add. Have field position, the value. I kind of did the test. I can do many things, in the recognition stage. Then I have here with groove. So I'll this one, right? Recognition. So if I wanted to recognize a specific value that pertains to this particular screen, I just enter something, and then in this case I enter a value here, right? For instance, where I'm going to have information stored, right? And I hit OK, and same here, right? Recognition. Then I continue adding fields that will allow me to recognize this accordingly. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the navigation, and in navigation, I'm going to create a plan. I'm just going to call WBGB, right? And process. What's going to happen is that I'm going to start dragging and dropping all of my screens, and the sequence of them, right? Sorry, this is first. This is second. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to call an empty screen here, because it's going to be accepting a value that I will be entering in the text. And then I call this one, I drag this one here. And then this last one here. Now let me make this a bit smaller, just for now. And then what I do is I will connect all of these screens, right? Now, once this had happened, so then I can zoom in and I can see that there is a sequence in them. I can see the actual values of them, right? Then I hit the flow again here, and what I do here is zoom out. If I go to this screen, then the first thing that I need to notice is that there was a command that I typed CICSBVTA, right? So then I gotta go to fix text and type text at cursor, right? So then what's going to happen is that I added this definition here, right? And then I have to do the same for every time I write a command in the screen, right? And the reason why I add this empty screen here is because it doesn't require recognition. So then I can add the execution commands anytime, right? So then if I go to this once and then I have to do the same here, double BGBP, and everything all together. So then once I have completed this process, I have my navigation plan available. So then if I go to methods, I should be able to create a new method. And this method, like my method, will allow me to say, for instance, no, I wanna create an input out of these values, right? So then in this method, I will be able to select a parameter, right? So then say I want this, I want to see the values here. Sorry, I'll show all fields here, and then this is the value that I want. This one here, right? So all fields. Right click, set as input parameter. So then call it name, right? And then you will see that parameter was added to my method, right? That's an input parameter. Now I want this one, right? So all fields, and I select this one, set as input parameter as well, account, and then I know that the balance will come here. This will be an output parameter, balance, right? And if there is an error definition somewhere here, like for instance here, right? Then set partial. Set partial or as output partial field because I have done complete the whole definition of the screen, right? But anyway, I can add just these three values here, and then I can change the data types of each one of them, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to the complete sample that I have here in the interest of time. And then this is a complete recording, right? So you see here all of the screens they have. If I go to recognition, then they have marked something in recognition that will make them unique, right? I can go through each one of the screens, and then I can see in this particular case what I did is I added also the scenario. If we go to navigation, I added here the screen that is the wood group okay, and the wood group that is not okay, the fail, right? And then I have the screen where I type the log off of the session, which I didn't do the first time, right? So then the first one has the CICSVVTA at cursor. This next one has a clear, which is the clear command that I hit with the keypad here, clear, right? Then the next one has the type the double BGB, which is the transaction that I'm calling the CICS. Then the next one has the screen where I enter the parameters that are mapped to, if I go here, are mapped to this particular screen, right? So if I go to name, this is account, right? And then this is balance, and then this is the error description, right? For instance, in this case, I'm calling the customer name not found, which is coming from the wood group fail screen, right? So then if I decided to test this, what's going to happen is that it's going to take me to the execution of uh, of the method, and then I hit OK, And then what's going to take me is going to take me to the entire view, right, where each one of the screen will be executed with the commands that I enter, right. Screen receive CICS, clear. The next command, it clears. Then I type the double BGB CICS transaction, and then the parameters. And then once I have the parameters in place, I hit enter, and then I get the value. And then the balance extracted from the 519 line column. And then I have the next one, PF3, empty, and then CESF log off to log off from CSES, and then enter, and then main, and then done, and then I'll get the value of the balance, right? So then the next step here is to go to tools and generate and test definitions HIDX, right? What's going to happen is that in the directory, uh, you know, so when all this happens, so the next time it's going to generate everything all together, and I'll show you where it comes, right? Just bear with me while I finish this. Um, I should have done it the first time, but anyway, so that's what happens in demos, huh? Log off, next, done, right? That's okay. And then I go, and then I'll go to the location where it was, right? Demo wrap. It created a directory here, and then I have the HIDX file. And this is exactly the file that is needed to be uploaded in the Logic app. And there will be another video for such, because there's not a lot of time for this demo to be completed. But I hope you have enjoyed this. This is the one that I created. Yeah, this is the one that I created. A few more things before here in the test. So here, tools, right? If I use the minimal progress form when I do the test, so then instead of taking me through the whole process, it's just going to take me through one screen until the final screen is received, and then it will get me the value. Okay. I really hope you have enjoyed this short demo. Right, there is more to show, but hopefully there will be time for another episode on this. There will be a We Speak 30 to 70 short demo that will call out this, and will show you how to use this from Logic Apps.